Hey, hello, how do you do? Shady Doorags here, and welcome to another episode of Episode Rundown, where I, Shady Doorags, run down the episodes of Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug, and Cat Noir. And today we're looking at Season 2, Episode 16, Frozer. So this was very much a character-driven episode, not so much a plot-driven one, and I was loving a lot about it. There are a couple of things I have issues with, but for the most part, I was really, really loving it. So the episode starts with Ladybug and Cat Noir saving the day, like they do. And Cat Noir tries to give Ladybug a flower, a rose, I think it was. And he fantasizes about himself coming clean as Adrien and them going to start a new relationship together. But it's all a fantasy. And he comes out of it, and Ladybug says she can't accept the flower because there is someone else she cares about. Now, I've given this kind of thing gripe in the past, but I want to say I do respect that that Ladybug is not leading anyone on. Like, she wants to be with Adrien. That's her goal. So she's not going to lead Cat Noir on because he's not her goal. She doesn't even like him in that manner. That's the thing. Now, she could learn to like him, but at this moment in time, she has a goal. Cat Noir is feeling down. He goes to his practice as Adrien, his fencing practice, and Kagami is there. Oh, is it Kagami? Kagame? I think it's Kagame. But she's there. Like this, if you remember, this was like one of my favorite characters of the show. She was a side character, a villain. I was like, I hope she comes back because they've given her such a good personality as well as a good backstory. And she comes back and they're fencing and she's kicking Adrien's butt, and she's a great character. Like, she has this wonderful personality. She's boasting to Adrien as she's defeating him, and then afterwards she's like, yo, it's no fun if you don't actually try. These are the two best fencers in the class. I love it. I love this character. I'm not the biggest fan of her design, but I could look quite past that because her personality is so good. So Adrien says, well, he's distracted. And Kagame, she has this wisdom about her. She deduces what's going on with Adrien, but she doesn't actually say it. And I cannot stress enough how much I love this character. She tells him, the problem isn't your technique, it's your target. You should change targets. Now, that's not a really good advice for somebody in fencing, which was the metaphor she was trying to use. But for the advice she was trying to give him about love life, because she deduced what was going on, it's really good advice. And she was also confessing at that time to him. And I was like, I have so much more respect for this girl than Marinette in regards to relationship stuff. Like, she was very respectful with how she approached Adrien. At the same time, she confessed to him. She was open about it. And she kind of won Adrien over, because Adrien started feeling the same way about her. I was like, wow. This girl, she's got it going on. So, but the thing is, Adrien is nervous about all this, which is kind of weird because in another episode, he was telling Nino, you don't have to be nervous around girls. And I thought that was very within character because he's such girls always want him that he doesn't have to be worried about girls. Like Nino said, easy for him to say Mr. Front of the Cover Teen Weekly, but he's nervous about Kagame going on a date with her, and he goes to Marinette. Quick little side note, Chloe is once again never seen in this episode, and I don't know, I want to see what happens when somebody goes on a date with Adrien and Chloe finds out. Oh, if Chloe meets Kagame, that's going to be interesting because those are two very strong-willed people in regards to getting what they want. Oh, that would be interesting. But anyway, Adrien goes to Marinette, and this part is just so adorable. Marinette's facial expressions are creepy, but like, it's just adorable how he's describing this girl, and of course, Kagame does have similar qualities to Marinette in appearances. And Marinette's just getting more and more excited. It's like, Adrien likes somebody. Oh, she meets my description, and she's really hoping he's going to say her name. And he says Kagame, and her heart just breaks. And like, it's funny, adorable, and if you're relating to Marinette, I guarantee, like, you felt some kind of way about it. But I'm just so glad to see like progression in the relationship area. Marinette suggests, she calls her the Ice Queen. I'm not sure why. She's only known her like once, and even then she had pretty intense emotions. And Adrian's like, what? And Marinette said, no, the ice rink. You should take her to the ice rink. And Adrian says, well, I'd be too scared to go with her alone. Guilt trip, puppy dog eyes, guilt trip. And so Marinette says, this is well within character of Marinette. She says, well, I could go with you. You know, she's always tries to be a really good friend to people. It's interesting to see her have to do it to Adrian. Has she done it before to Adrian? I know they've talked as friends before. So she goes back to, what's that girl's name? I can't remember. Nuka's sister, or I'll just say Nuka's family's boat. Is it Luca? I said Nuka. I think his name's Luca. She goes to their boat with all her friends, and they're like, we got to figure out a way to fix this because, you know, all of them are shipping Marinette and Adrian. And Marinette says something that I complained about before. She says, whenever I'm talking to him in a romantic, like, I can't get a word out, but we talk just fine as friends. And I'm like, oh, these people do realize what they're doing. Because I've said before in other episodes, this is so inconsistent that she can talk to him as a friend, but I prefer that. I prefer that she just be able to communicate, because before they can build a relationship up, they need to build a relationship, like a regular relationship. I thought that was interesting that they acknowledged that she can talk to him whenever they're just being friends. And she said maybe they're destined to just be friends because that's where they're most comfortable at. And all the girls are like, no, the only reason you stutter around him so much is because you like him so much. You know, they're not having it. Nobody's ruining their ship. So Marinette leaves and Luca comes back. See, now here's the thing. Luca is a boring character, but because of the situation he's been placed in, he's very interesting. Because his whole shtick is that he's good at music. I want to say he can interpret feelings through music, but no, he just interprets Marinette's feelings through music. But because Marinette is constantly dealing with Adrian, who's so oblivious to emotions, Luca is such a breath of fresh air. I mean, and I love his design with the shades of green in his hair. But he's such a breath of fresh air because he genuinely understands what Marinette is going through. And he displays it. Like, he doesn't even tell her. He's just like, this is how you feel. And then he plays the guitar. So Marinette asks Luca to go with her to the ice rink. And I'm just like, okay, all of my ships are happening right now. Like, because I said before, when Kagame first came on, I shipped her and Adrian more than I did Marinette and Adrian. And Luca, to me, just feels like a really good combatant for Adrian. He's also a nice guy, but unlike Adrian, he pays attention to Marinette on a more deeper level. So those four go to the ice rink. Meanwhile, there's this thing going on with the ice rink teacher. He's got to get more students or the place is going to get shut down. He's going to be the Kuma. That's not important for this episode. It's going to happen, but it's not important. So they go to the ice rink, and as they're going, Marinette is constantly paying attention to Adrian. And Adrian is nervous, but Kagame translates that well, she asks him, did you come here because you were afraid of being alone with me? Adrian, being nervous, says, no. And he lies. He says, Marinette's helping me with my ice skating technique. And, oh my goodness, Kagame, the competitive girl that she is like, you don't need any help. But no, this man is mine. she starts showing off. Oh my goodness, it is fantastic. Marinette slips and falls, and Luca goes to pick her up because, you know, she's skating with her. She's skating with him. Adrian, being good guy Adrian, when he sees somebody falls, also runs over to help Marinette, which is, that was a bad move, Adrian. You're on a date with somebody else, and she has someone to help her up. And there's this symbolic moment where they're both reaching out their hands, and it's basically, you know, Marinette, you have to pick one. You can't have both. You have to pick one. And she hesitates, and Kagame comes and pulls her up. And I love this moment. So I love this character. I love this character so much. Kagame goes and whispers in Marinette's ear, the reason why you fall is because you hesitate. Me, I never hesitate. This would have been a really good bully. I'm just saying. This girl knows how to get her point across without anyone else finding out. It is ridiculous how well thought out her lines are, and how this character, I love this character so much. Basically telling Marinette, yo, you could have had Adrian, but you never did anything. Never. You always hesitate. Me, I went for it, and look where we are now. We're at the ice rink skating together. So, back off. She's basically telling Marinette, you don't stand a chance. I love it. I love this character. She's not even a bully. She's just like competitive. She's intensely competitive. The ice rink guy is trying to get them all to sign up for classes. None of them want to do it. He gets sad because the mayor says if he can't get anybody to do it, they're gonna shut down the ice rink. That causes Hawkmoth to target it on him. He becomes Frozer, which is basically Iceman Frozer. Iceman Frozone fused together, and he starts freezing all of Paris, turning it into his own ice rink. So Marinette and Adrian get the blue formula, the light blue one, and it turns them into their ice skating figures. Marinette's different forms are always more interesting because she has the spots. They can be more creative with the spots. Adrian has different designs woven into his outfit, but it still just feels like Cat Noir on ice, basically, or Cat Noir underwater, like the last episode was. Whereas the spots on Marinette's designs really make it stand out. And like last episode, her scales had a white outline to them, so I often like the new forms of Ladybug more than I do Cat Noir. So they go to defeat this guy, and Adrian throws a hissy fit again. Okay, look, you can relapse on problems with characters, but there needs to be some kind of gradual production to it. Adrian has had this problem before, and he's gotten past it. So just seeing him jump into it again, this is a bratty thing for him to do. For him to get mad at Ladybug because she doesn't like him. They're superheroes. They have a job to do. And yes, it does happen to people, but again, it's bratty. It's very bratty and petty for him to do this. And there needs to be a gradual progression into it. For example, in Avatar: The Last Airbender, Zuko had gave up chasing Aang, but then he relapsed, but it wasn't sudden. Like, Azula came back into his life. She pushed him, imprisoned him, and then mentally manipulated him to believing that it was his destiny to help her. Like, a lot of things happened that pushed Zuko down that route, and it was a struggle. So to see Cat Noir just come back and once again throw a temper tantrum because Ladybug rejected him. Like, she already said before that she wasn't into you. So, I get it. The chase is part of a relationship thing. Not every guy stops at the first no, and not every girl likes a guy to stop at the first no. So, but like, I think it's really petty of him to get all pouty because she said no. So, Ladybug says they should set a trap. Cat Noir says, I like to observe my enemy before I make an action. And later it comes back. Frozer almost hits Ladybug. I don't think that would like killed her or anything. She has armor that protects her immensely. You know, I've seen them get hit with a bunch of horrible stuff. Cat Noir saves her, and he says, you're right, we should have said it. No, Ladybug says, you're right, we should have spied on him before taking action. And Cat Noir says, you were also right, we should set a trap. I don't like this. For one, it really seems a bit out of character that Marinette wouldn't want to observe someone. Ladybug's really the more thinking one, whereas Cat Noir is really the more acting one. But that I could let that slide. But the second thing is, Cat Noir says you were also right. No, Cat Noir, you were right in this regard. Your response was, let's watch and then decide if we should make a trap or if we should do something else. You were completely 100% right. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to say they work better together. But in this regard, Cat Noir was completely right. I mean, it's kind of fun that for once Cat Noir is better, but even then, again, they're not really showing what they're telling. So they set up a trap with this guy using salt as the lucky charm. It would have been nice if there had just been a hint at the lucky charm. Like if before they got on the ring, somebody was like, hey, don't come onto the ring with salt or something like that. You know, just some kind of foreshadowing. But they do it. You know, like I said, the important thing isn't the villain in this episode. They defeat the Frozer guy with a pretty clever plan to trap him. And Afterwards, they go back to the ice rink, and Adrian talks to Kagame, and he tells her he's not switching targets. And it's so upsetting. It is so upsetting to me. It's upsetting because Ladybug said no. Adrian likes Kagame. He does. He likes her a lot. He likes her in a romantic light. She likes him. There is no reason for him not to change targets. One rejected him, another accepted him. I get it, you have your first pick, but this is completely unfair. This is completely unfair to Kagame. Kagame thinks he's talking about Marinette because he's constantly fanboying over Marinette, or fangirling, excuse. There is a difference between the two, and it's not gender related, but he's constantly fangirling over Marinette. So she thinks he's talking about Marinette, and she says, when you're ready to switch targets, I'll be here. I'm so mad at that. Like, I get it, the show wants to have it shipped, but they make such a better couple. They understand each other on a much more deeper level than Marinette and Adrian do. Speaking of which, Marinette goes to Luca. Luca can clearly see that Marinette did not want to come with him and says, you should go talk to him. Basically giving up on her, saying, yeah, you want to be with him, not me. Again, it's so upsetting because he has shown that he understands her on a much deeper level. He can play her emotions, whereas Adrian just sees what's on the surface, sees what Marinette does, and thinks that's okay. Or he thinks that's great. He thinks the world of Marinette. He thinks she's a really great person, but he doesn't understand her deeply. They are both fans of each other. And to see Luca get side shafted like that, especially when I know Marinette likes him. And again, she thinks he likes Kagame. So she's basically been rejected in that regard. I mean, she hasn't fully been rejected, but he's with someone right now. You have this other person who you like, but you're so obsessed with the first one that you're not even going to pursue that second one. He likes you, you like him, and the first guy rejected you. Why would you not pursue that? So Marinette goes to talk to Adrian. Yeah. They are both basically fans of each other. Marinette doesn't understand Adrian on a more complex level. She saw a bit more of his complexity during the raining scene, which again is one of my favorite scenes. Them connecting emotionally. But she really doesn't understand. She just sees the surface. He's a really attractive guy who's really, really nice to people. She doesn't understand any of his struggles. Kagame does. And same with Adrian. Adrian sees Marinette as just a really good girl who helps people in their time of need. Meanwhile, Luca can see her feelings at an instant. At an instant. But anyway, Marinette goes to talk to Adrian, and she tries to ask him out on a date, but again, she hesitates. And we're back to the status quo. Oh, man. So, this episode, it had a couple of my favorite characters. I freaking love Kagame. She's a great character. It had two ships I was rooting for. And I was really hoping like it would push away from this, forcing them to be together. But you kind of know it's not gonna. That's the whole premise of the show. Well, it's not the premise of the show, but it's what drives the show. These two wanting to be together, but not actually being together. Oh, there's also a bookend of Marinette hallucinating, confessing to Adrian. But yeah, I do like the episode. There was so much I wanted to see in it, but it ended on such a disappointing note. It did. Like, it's not fair to these other two really good characters that these two are so obsessed with one person who has decided to move on, to reject them, that they're just not going to stop. Like, oh man. I really hope there's more of Kagame. And Luca too. Like I said, Luca's not really that much of an interesting character. It's just he's been put in a situation that makes him more interesting. But they deserve a bit more spotlight. I would like to see them get Miraculouses. And I keep telling myself the plural form of Miraculous is Miraculous. It's not Miraculouses. But I would like to see them get Miraculous. I think their characters just have earned it at this point. I've looked at titles of future episodes, and it looks like there's going to be a lot about Chloe. So I guess that's why they've backed down on the Chloe stuff. And as I've said before, I know she's going to get her Miraculous this season. So that's going to be interesting. I already know what the next episode is going to be about. I try not to spoil myself in that regard, but I do. But I did this time because I thought it was going to be one I could maybe react to. But yeah. This episode, I really liked it, but it did have some disappointing moments. I can't even deny that. So, that is good. Let us end the video. I will see you guys next time for episode 17. And we will hopefully one day perhaps see Marinette and Adrian just tell each other who they are. And we can stop all this nonsense. Anyway, this has been Shady Doorags. So long. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.